Did you know that over 1.5 billion people speak English worldwide? Yet, only about 20% of them are truly fluent. That means millions are struggling to express themselves clearly, even though they know the words. In fact, studies show that over 60% of non-native English speakers fear speaking in public because they worry about making mistakes. But here's the good news: fluency is not just about knowing vocabulary or grammar rules. It's about building confidence, understanding the rhythm of the language, and using simple strategies that can change the way you speak forever. In this video, we'll share 6 powerful steps that can turn you into a fluent English speaker. You'll learn how to unlock your unique voice, speak like a native, and engage others with confidence. Whether you're looking to improve your daily conversations or get ready for your next big presentation, these steps will help you take your English skills to the next level. Ready to discover the secrets to speaking English like a pro? Let's dive in. Chapter 1: Unlock your inner voice. Discover the power of self-expression. One of the most important factors in speaking English fluently is discovering your unique voice. When you speak authentically, your words flow naturally, and that's the key to sounding fluent. Think about how a great speaker doesn't just talk, they connect emotionally. In fact, research from the University of California shows that when we speak from a place of authenticity, people listen more attentively. Expressing yourself clearly starts with understanding who you are and what you want to convey. According to communication expert Dr. Deborah Tannen, effective speakers connect with their audience by being genuine and relatable. This isn't about copying someone else's style, but about embracing your own. Another tip: don't fear imperfections. We all make mistakes when speaking. And surprisingly, people actually trust speakers more when they embrace their flaws. A study from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that audiences are more likely to forgive small errors in speech if they believe the speaker is being honest and genuine. Start practicing by speaking in front of a mirror or recording yourself. Hearing your voice helps you understand its rhythm and tone. This simple technique can also highlight areas where you can improve. Over time, you'll learn to express yourself more freely, which will boost your confidence. And remember, it's not about perfection. It's about communicating with your audience in a way that feels real. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become in your own skin, and that's when fluency truly shines. Chapter 2: Talk like a native. The secret to mastering natural intonation. Intonation is often the most overlooked aspect of speaking fluently. The rhythm and melody of speech are what make a language feel natural. You've probably noticed that native English speakers use varied pitch and pauses while talking. That's intonation at work. Learning how to use intonation properly is essential to speaking English fluently. Research by the British Council shows that understanding and using intonation effectively can help non-native speakers improve their fluency by as much as 50%. For example, if you stress the right syllables in words, people can better understand you, even if your vocabulary isn't perfect. Start by mimicking the intonation patterns of native speakers. You can do this by watching movies or listening to podcasts in English. Pay attention to how speakers raise or lower their voices. When you do this, focus on how you feel the meaning shifts with changes in tone. The key is to practice speaking in a conversational flow. Don't speak in a robotic or monotone way. Emphasize certain words or phrases for emotional impact. When you speak naturally with varied intonation, you will be able to express more complex ideas clearly. Studies have shown that non-native speakers who master intonation are often perceived as more fluent. Even if you make mistakes with grammar or vocabulary, the right intonation will help you sound confident and in control. A great exercise to improve intonation is to read aloud and try to mimic the tone of the speaker you're listening to. This method will teach your brain to adopt natural speech patterns. Remember, intonation is about conveying emotion and meaning. Once you get the hang of it, your spoken English will sound much more fluent and enjoyable to listen to. Chapter 3: Break the barriers. Overcome fear and speak with confidence. Fear of speaking is a major obstacle to fluency. It's common for people to feel nervous about making mistakes, but the truth is, no one speaks perfectly all the time. Author Susan Cain, in her book Quiet, reminds us that many great speakers were initially shy or introverted. They didn't overcome their fear by avoiding speaking, they faced it head-on. The key to overcoming this fear is practice. Just like learning to ride a bike, the more you practice speaking, the less scary it becomes. A study from the University of Cambridge found that speaking regularly in front of others can help reduce anxiety and build confidence. One great technique to break through fear is to visualize success. Before speaking, close your eyes and picture yourself speaking confidently. Imagine the positive reactions from your audience. Studies have shown that this mental preparation can increase your actual performance by up to 25%. Another strategy is to start small. Practice speaking in low-pressure situations first, like with a friend or family member. As you get more comfortable, you can gradually increase the difficulty, like participating in group discussions or giving short presentations. This progressive approach helps build confidence over time. It's also important to stop worrying about making mistakes. In fact, mistakes are a natural part of language learning. According to linguist Stephen Krashen, error making is essential to fluency because it helps us internalize language patterns. The more you embrace mistakes, the faster you'll learn. Finally, remember that your audience is there to listen to you, not to judge you. Most people are forgiving of small errors, and they're often more impressed by your courage to speak than by how perfectly you speak. So don't let fear hold you back. By practicing often and facing your fears, you'll soon notice a shift. Confidence in speaking is like a muscle, it gets stronger the more you use it. And as you continue to speak, you'll find that your fluency improves as well. If you're finding these tips helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next chapters with more expert strategies. Chapter 4. Expand your vocabulary. Speak smart, not just fast. Fluency isn't about how fast you speak, it's about how effectively you use the language. Vocabulary plays a huge role in this. When you expand your vocabulary, you can express ideas more clearly and precisely. The goal is not to learn thousands of words, but to understand how to use a smaller set in the right contexts. According to a study by the British Council, having a strong vocabulary can increase your chances of being understood by 70%. But it's not just about memorizing words, it's about understanding the nuances and emotions behind them. A word is much more powerful when you know how to use it effectively. Start by focusing on words you'll actually use in everyday conversations. Avoid getting overwhelmed by complex terms or jargon. Simple words, when used correctly, can be just as impactful. Author and linguist David Crystal suggests focusing on words that express specific ideas. For example, knowing how to describe feelings or actions with precision can make a conversation smoother. A great way to expand your vocabulary is through context. Instead of just memorizing a list, pay attention to how native speakers use words in movies, podcasts, and books. If you hear a phrase or word you like, make it your own by practicing it in real conversations. Also, practice using new words in different ways. Try turning nouns into verbs or adjectives. For example, instead of saying, "The discussion was good," say, "The discussion was engaging." This simple change adds variety to your speech and makes you sound more fluent. Flashcards can be a useful tool, but remember to review them regularly. One study found that spaced repetition can help improve long-term retention of vocabulary by 50%. And don't forget synonyms. They allow you to express the same idea in different ways, which keeps your conversations fresh and engaging. Over time, your vocabulary will grow, and you'll be able to speak more confidently and with more depth. Chapter 5. Engage and connect. The art of active listening. Fluency isn't just about speaking, it's also about listening. In fact, active listening is one of the most important skills for improving your English fluency. When you truly understand what others are saying, you can respond in a more meaningful way. This makes conversations smoother and helps you sound more natural. Active listening goes beyond hearing words. It's about paying attention to the speaker's tone, body language, and emotions. A study from the University of California found that people who listen actively tend to speak more fluently because they are better able to follow the flow of conversation. One of the best ways to practice active listening is by engaging with real-world content. Watch interviews, listen to podcasts, or have conversations with native speakers. Focus on how they structure their sentences, use pauses, and convey meaning through intonation. While listening, try to anticipate what the speaker will say next. This keeps your mind sharp and improves your response time. It also allows you to stay engaged in the conversation and helps you respond naturally, rather than forcing words or phrases. Also, give feedback while listening. Nod, smile, or use short responses like, "I see," or, "That's interesting." These simple actions show that you're involved in the conversation and help build rapport with the speaker. Another strategy is to ask follow-up questions based on what you've heard. This shows that you're not only listening, but also thinking critically about the topic. Active listening encourages deeper conversations and helps improve your fluency by expanding your understanding of how language works in different contexts. Remember, the more you practice listening, the more confident you will become in responding. And as you engage in meaningful conversations, your language skills will grow. Chapter 6. Rehearse like a pro. Practical exercises for real-world fluency. Rehearsing is an essential part of becoming fluent. But it's not just about reading grammar books or doing vocabulary drills. Real-world fluency comes from practicing in situations that mirror the conversations you'll have in daily life. You need to practice speaking, and you need to do it often. One powerful technique is role-playing. You can practice having conversations in English by pretending you're in different situations, ordering food at a restaurant, talking to a friend, or giving a presentation. This type of rehearsal helps prepare you for real interactions and makes you feel more comfortable using the language in public. In fact, a study from the University of Edinburgh found that role-playing can increase fluency by improving your ability to recall words and phrases in real time. When you simulate a conversation, your brain becomes better at processing and using language on the spot. You can also record yourself speaking. While this may feel awkward at first, it's a great way to identify areas for improvement. By listening to your recordings, you can spot pronunciation mistakes, awkward pauses, or unclear sentences that you might not notice when speaking. Another useful exercise is the 1-minute talk. Pick a topic you enjoy and talk about it for 1 minute without stopping. This encourages you to think quickly and speak fluidly, even if you don't have a prepared script. The more you practice, the more comfortable you will become with spontaneous speaking. Additionally, make use of language exchange apps or online platforms where you can chat with native speakers. Practicing with someone who speaks English fluently is invaluable. They can correct your mistakes, help you refine your pronunciation, and give you feedback on your sentence structure. Remember, fluency isn't something that happens overnight. It takes time, effort, and consistent practice. The more you rehearse and use English in real situations, the more confident and fluent you will become. So, make a habit of practicing every day. Over time, you'll notice how much more natural your conversations become, and fluency will no longer feel like a distant goal. It will be a part of your everyday life. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get more tips and strategies on mastering English fluency.